Hello, my name is Richard and welcome to my channel. Before Rome, before Greece, one empire stood eternal. Imagine dragging 15-ton stones through scorching desert, not with machines but with sheer human will. This is the story of gods who walked as kings, of pyramids that defied time, and a civilization that rewrote what it meant to live forever. Welcome to ancient Egypt, where mystery meets mastery and history becomes legend. Let's journey back to where it all began.
The sands of time have buried countless secrets, but none more captivating than the civilization that defied death itself. Picture this: massive stone blocks weighing 15 tons each, moved across the desert without modern machinery, assembled into monuments so precise they align perfectly with celestial bodies. We're talking about a civilization that lasted over 3,000 years, longer than any empire in human history. Today, we're diving deep into the epic evolution of ancient Egypt, where pharaohs were considered living gods, where the afterlife was more important than life itself, and where engineering marvels still baffle scientists today. You're about to discover how a small collection of farming villages along the Nile River transformed into the most powerful empire the ancient world had ever seen. We'll explore the rise and fall of dynasties, uncover the secrets behind pyramid construction, and reveal how Egyptian innovations still influence our modern world. But here's what most people don't know about ancient Egypt, and trust me, this will completely change how you think about this incredible civilization. Ancient Egypt's story begins around 3100 BCE, but to understand its true power, we need to go back even further. The Nile River was the lifeblood of this entire civilization, and without it, there would be no pyramids, no pharaohs, no golden treasures. Every year, the Nile would flood, depositing rich, fertile soil across the land, creating what the ancient Greeks called the gift of the Nile. This predictable flooding cycle allowed Egyptian farmers to develop sophisticated agricultural techniques that could support large populations. The earliest Egyptians were hunter-gatherers, who gradually transitioned to farming around 5000 BCE. They learned to harness the Nile's power, developing irrigation systems that would become the foundation of their entire civilization. These early communities began to organize themselves into larger groups, eventually forming two distinct kingdoms, Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north. This division would become crucial to understanding Egyptian politics and culture for millennia to come. The unification of these two kingdoms marks the beginning of pharaonic Egypt. Around 3100 BCE, a ruler named Narmer, also known as Menes, conquered Lower Egypt and became the first pharaoh to rule over a unified Egyptian kingdom. This moment represents one of the most significant political achievements in human history. Narmer established the first dynasty, beginning a tradition of pharaonic rule that would continue for over 3,000 years. The concept of divine kingship was central to Egyptian society from the very beginning. Pharaohs weren't just political leaders. They were considered living gods, specifically the earthly incarnation of the god Horus. This divine status gave pharaohs absolute power over their subjects and justified their elaborate burial practices and monumental construction projects. The pharaoh was responsible for maintaining Ma'at, the cosmic order that kept chaos at bay. Early dynasties focused on consolidating power and establishing the fundamental institutions of Egyptian government. The pharaoh was supported by a complex bureaucracy of priests, scribes, and officials who administered the kingdom. Memphis, located at the junction of Upper and Lower Egypt, became the capital city and remained politically important throughout Egyptian history. The Old Kingdom, spanning roughly from 2686 to 2181 BCE, represents the first golden age of Egyptian civilization. This period is often called the Age of the Pyramids, and for good reason. It was during the Old Kingdom that Egyptian architects and engineers achieved their most impressive feats of construction, creating monuments that still inspire awe today. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu around 2580 BCE, stands as the most famous achievement of this period. This massive structure originally stood 481 feet tall and was composed of approximately 2.3 million stone blocks. The precision of its construction is remarkable, with the base being leveled to within just 2.1 centimeters. The pyramid's sides align almost perfectly with the cardinal directions, demonstrating the advanced mathematical and astronomical knowledge of Egyptian engineers. But the Great Pyramid wasn't built in isolation. It was part of a larger complex that included smaller pyramids for queens, mastaba tombs for nobles, and elaborate temples for religious ceremonies. The entire Giza complex represents a massive investment of resources and human labor that demonstrates the organizational capacity of the Old Kingdom state. The construction of pyramids required sophisticated planning and coordination. Recent archaeological evidence suggests that pyramid builders were not slaves, as commonly believed, but skilled workers who were well-fed and housed in purpose-built villages near the construction sites. These workers included stonemasons, engineers, architects, and thousands of laborers who moved massive blocks using ramps, levers, and human power. The Middle Kingdom, lasting from approximately 2055 to 1650 BCE, saw Egyptian civilization reach new heights of cultural and artistic achievement. After a period of political instability known as the First Intermediate Period, strong pharaohs reunified the kingdom and ushered in an era of prosperity and expansion. During this period, Egyptian literature flourished, producing timeless works that reveal the sophistication of Egyptian thought and culture. The Tale of Sinway, often considered the first novel in human history, tells the story of an Egyptian official who flees to Asia and eventually returns home. This literary masterpiece demonstrates the psychological complexity and narrative sophistication that Egyptian writers achieved. The Middle Kingdom also saw significant military expansion. Egyptian armies pushed south into Nubia, securing gold mines and trade routes that would become crucial sources of wealth. To the north, Egyptians established diplomatic and trade relationships with various Mediterranean civilizations, spreading Egyptian influence throughout the ancient world. Religious thought evolved significantly during this period. The cult of Osiris, god of the underworld and rebirth, became increasingly important, democratizing beliefs about the afterlife that had previously been reserved for pharaohs. Common people began to believe they too could achieve eternal life through proper burial practices and moral behavior. The New Kingdom, spanning from 1550 to 1077 BCE, represents the height of Egyptian power and international influence. This was the age of warrior pharaohs who transformed Egypt from a regional power into a true empire that controlled territory from Sudan to the Euphrates River.
So far, we've uncovered how a small Nile-side society rose to build pyramids that scraped the heavens. But Egypt's greatest stories are still ahead. Now we enter an age of expansion, rebellion, and revolution, where warrior pharaohs reshaped empires and heretic kings rewrote religion. If you thought pyramids were the peak, think again. The golden age of ancient Egypt is just beginning.
Pharaohs like Thutmose III and Ramesses II led massive military campaigns that brought unprecedented wealth and international prestige to Egypt. Thutmose III, often called Egypt's Napoleon, conducted 17 military campaigns and established Egyptian dominance over the Levant. His victory at the Battle of Megiddo in 1457 BCE demonstrated Egyptian military superiority and secured tribute from numerous vassal states. The New Kingdom also produced some of history's most fascinating royal figures. Hatshepsut, one of the most successful female pharaohs, ruled for 22 years and oversaw a period of peace and prosperity. She commissioned numerous building projects, including her magnificent mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari, which remains one of ancient Egypt's architectural masterpieces. Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh, temporarily revolutionized Egyptian religion by promoting monotheistic worship of the sun god Aten. His reign represents one of the most dramatic religious upheavals in ancient history, though his reforms were largely reversed after his death. Akhenaten's queen, Nefertiti, became one of the most iconic figures of ancient Egypt, known for her beauty and possible political influence. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 by Howard Carter revealed the incredible wealth and artistic achievement of New Kingdom Egypt. The young pharaoh's burial chamber contained over 5,000 precious objects, including his famous golden death mask, providing unprecedented insight into Egyptian burial practices and royal luxury. Egyptian society was highly stratified, with the pharaoh at the top, followed by nobles, priests, scribes, craftsmen, farmers, and slaves. However, social mobility was possible, particularly through education and military service. The ability to read and write hieroglyphs was a pathway to advancement, as scribes held important administrative positions throughout the kingdom. Women in ancient Egypt enjoyed more rights and freedoms than in most other ancient civilizations. They could own property, initiate divorce, and engage in business transactions. Some women achieved positions of significant political power, serving as pharaohs or wielding influence behind the scenes. The goddess Isis, representing motherhood and magic, was one of the most important deities in the Egyptian pantheon. Religion permeated every aspect of Egyptian life. The Egyptians worshipped hundreds of gods and goddesses, each with specific roles and attributes. The sun god, Ra, was considered the king of the gods, while Osiris ruled the underworld. The annual flooding of the Nile was attributed to the tears of Isis, mourning her husband Osiris, demonstrating how Egyptian religion explained natural phenomena. The process of mummification reflects the Egyptian obsession with the afterlife. Egyptians believed that preserving the body was essential for survival in the next world. The mummification process could take up to 70 days and involve removing internal organs, drying the body with natron salt, and wrapping it in linen bandages. Only the wealthy could afford elaborate mummification, while common people received simpler burial treatments. Egyptian innovations in medicine, mathematics, and engineering profoundly influenced later civilizations. Egyptian doctors performed complex surgical procedures, including brain surgery and cataract removal. The Edwin Smith papyrus, dating to around 1600 BCE, contains detailed descriptions of surgical procedures that demonstrate sophisticated medical knowledge. In mathematics, Egyptians developed a decimal system and made significant advances in geometry, essential for their monumental construction projects. They calculated the area of circles, the volume of truncated pyramids, and solved complex mathematical problems that wouldn't be addressed by other civilizations for centuries. Egyptian writing systems evolved from simple pictographs to complex hieroglyphic scripts that could express abstract concepts and complex grammatical structures. The Rosetta Stone, discovered in 1799, provided the key to deciphering hieroglyphs, opening up thousands of years of Egyptian literature and historical records to modern scholars. Trade networks established by ancient Egypt connected Africa, Asia, and Europe, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies. Egyptian merchants traveled as far as Afghanistan to acquire lapis lazuli, to Lebanon for cedar wood, and to sub-Saharan Africa for gold and exotic animals. These trade relationships made Egypt incredibly wealthy and cosmopolitan. The decline of ancient Egypt was gradual, resulting from internal political instability, foreign invasions, and changing economic conditions. The Bronze Age collapse around 1200 BCE disrupted trade networks and weakened Egyptian power. Successive invasions by Assyrians, Persians, and eventually Alexander the Great ended pharaonic rule, though Egyptian culture continued to influence the ancient world. The legacy of ancient Egypt extends far beyond its monuments and treasures. Egyptian concepts of divine kingship influenced later civilizations, while their artistic styles and architectural techniques spread throughout the Mediterranean world. The ancient Greeks and Romans deeply admired Egyptian civilization, adopting many Egyptian religious practices and artistic motifs. Modern archaeology continues to reveal new insights about ancient Egypt. Recent discoveries include new chambers in the Great Pyramid, intact tombs of previously unknown pharaohs, and evidence of sophisticated medical practices. Advanced imaging techniques and DNA analysis are providing unprecedented insights into Egyptian daily life, health, and population genetics. The fascination with ancient Egypt shows no signs of diminishing. From Hollywood movies to video games, Egyptian themes continue to captivate modern audiences. The discovery of King Tut's tomb launched a global fascination with Egyptology that continues to inspire new generations of archaeologists and historians. The fascination with ancient Egypt shows no signs of diminishing. From Hollywood movies to video games, Egyptian themes continue to captivate modern audiences. The discovery of King Tut's tomb launched a global fascination with Egyptology that continues to inspire new generations of archaeologists and historians. The story of ancient Egypt reminds us that great civilizations are built not just on military conquest or economic power, but on the human capacity for imagination, artistic expression, and the pursuit of immortality through lasting achievements. The pharaohs achieved their goal of eternal life not through mummification, but through the enduring legacy of their incredible civilization. What aspects of ancient Egyptian civilization do you find most fascinating? Are you amazed by their engineering achievements, intrigued by their religious beliefs, or inspired by their artistic legacy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the civilizations that shaped our world.
From the eternal sands to the towering pyramids, ancient Egypt wasn't just a civilization, it was a legacy carved in stone and written in the stars. Their obsession with immortality paid off, not in tombs, but in the timeless impact they left behind. If this journey through Egypt's history moved you, drop a comment with your favorite discovery and let me know what civilization you want to explore next. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me as we uncover more lost worlds that shape the one we live in today.